What,
Thank you.
first of all, is your take on what's happening here in Hong Kong? Your take on this controversial extradition bill?
Well, I think the extradition bill has turned, there are over 1 million people walk out and protest, and more than half of the city's citizens into dissidents.
Why?
Because, our freedom is being taken away.
But surely not. In what sense is the freedom of Hong Kong is being taken away by this legislation?
Well, because if you allow China to take people, to nab people from here, to put in jail in China, you undermine the rule of law here.
No, that's not the bill, though. It would only mean that somebody who has committed a crime outside of Hong Kong would then be extradited to China should they have committed that crime in China. So it doesn't actually really affect a Hong Konger.
That's according to people who have the sense of a rule of law. But, how can you know what China would do? They can fabricate everything. They can. I'm in the media business. Have been criticizing China for all the years. They can libel me and say that I libel. They can nab me just because they accuse me of libeling China anytime.
Okay, Jimmy, let me put it this way. You have faith in Hong Kong's judicial system. Let me ask you that question first of all.
Yes, up to now.
Now, it would be up to the Hong Kong judiciary ultimately to extradite somebody to China.
Yes.
Now, if you have faith in them, surely that should be a good protection.
But that is before the extradition law is being imposed here.
Well, if it does become a law, then that's the way it would work. To extradite somebody would have to go through the courts here
But
first.
I don't think the whole legal system will be under the pressure of China. The lawyer cannot stop that. The judges cannot stop it if, China demand it.
But then again, they could do that now. By the same token, could they not?
Well, they can do that now. I don't think they can do that now. Because they don't have an extradition law.
But
that's why they had to nab people and skip them over to China, secretly.
Right.
They couldn't do it. They cannot do it now, unless they do it by other way than through the legal law.
I'm talking about just generally speaking. They could be putting pressure on Hong Kong and through the legal system now in the same way they could do after an extradition law. It would just be about extradition, that would be, though. So you would lose faith in the judiciary as a result of this. But surely you have faith now. Why not have faith in the future?
Because with the extradition law, I don't think the judges can stop China demanding somebody to China.
But is this about the extradition bill, or is it about mainland China chipping away at Hong Kong's autonomy?
Definitely. They have been chipping away Hong Kong's freedom, by DQing the legislators and putting people in jail, as political prisoners, But this extradition law is a very obvious example of China's intrinsic attempt to take away Hong Kong people's freedom. Even this law is going to be delayed. I think it has already created a lot of people's plan for immigration, because they know if China's intentions is so obvious, to take away Hong Kong's people's freedom, to make Hong Kong one of the cities of China, eventually they know that the freedom here, the rule of law, will be lost. And that's why, actually the immigration trend is starting. Why the young kids are fighting so hard on Wednesday? Because they don't have the wherewithal to immigrate. They don't have the money, they have the resources to immigrate. The only alternative is going to protest, and that's why they protest. And they will come back.
The fact they may not have money, it may not be China's fault. It may well be a Hong Kong specific problem, mightn't it? That's another story altogether.
What do you mean Pacific problem?
I'm saying it's not the fact that they can't immigrate and they haven't got any money. That's not necessarily China's fault. It could be Hong Kong's fault.
Well, it's China's fault just because China imposed this law on us.
Right. Let's just quickly just move on and just talk a little bit about. I mean, you say this legislation came from Beijing. Carrie Lam says, the chief executive of Hong Kong, that it was her idea.
Well, if not from Beijing, when all the world, almost any government, has protested against it, all the lawyers, the former chairman of the Law Society, everybody, every association in the society, everybody is against it. And she still wants to ram it through. Either she's crazy or she's very evil.
No, exactly. You've described her before as evil here, but how do you think this is going to play out in your view? Do you think that she will get this passed? Or do you think it'll be shelved ultimately?
Well, I think she is still now very strongly, very strongly to keep on pushing it through. But I don't think Hong Kong people will stop protesting, will stop coming out to protest it. We will have to see, because she really turned every one of us into dissidents. This Hong Kong has become a place of dissidents. I don't think any government can afford it, even a dictatorial government. So we are not people in China. We are steeped in the British legacy of value. Our instinct for freedom will prompt us to fight. It's not like China. We don't have the docility of the Chinese people. Our instinct is to fight for our freedom. It's being threatened.
But that's exactly what happened on Wednesday to some extent. You could argue this as well. And there's going to be another protest, or should I say march, on Sunday.
On Sunday, yeah.
Do you think it's going to be as big as the one the previous Sunday?
Well, I don't think that, whether it's as big as the last Sunday means anything. What means is that the Hong Kong people will go on to demonstrate, will go on to march, will go on to protest non-stoply until either we stop the law from passing or they pass. But once they pass, I don't think Hong Kong people will stop.